And Tony Buzbee, listen, you started this, Tony. You could have left him alone. You could have left Jay-Z alone. Could have taken the L, but you went down this route, and it's been proven that the client you took, by your own admission, you shouldn't have taken on. You didn't vet her. The story's not true. It's been discredited by her own father, who was supposed to have picked her up. The friend who dropped her off, or allegedly dropped her off, is dead. She said she made a 5-hour drive in 20 minutes. Walked to a gas station butt naked. Like, come on, man. Tony, you started this and you get what you get, man. I still believe you're innocent, especially of these most recent allegations. But man, if you're going to play the game, play the game. I'm sorry. Dear Walt Christian's in here too. Y'all show some love to Dear Walt Christian. Go give him a follow and a subscribe as well. He said Fannie Willis filing an appeal is the most Fannie Willis's thing she'll do today. Yeah. Oh, of course. And I'm sure there's more to come, Dear Walt Christian. Just hold on to your seats because she's not done yet. Speak for yourself. Oh, man. Six Lenses is in here with the 5 bomb. Says, just wanted to ask, is Anton's Patreon worth it? Absolutely. Shout out to the bag chasers in here. No questions asked. If I had the link, I would drop it in the chat. Shout out to my dog, Anton Daniels. Absolutely. The Patreon is worth it. Listen, I've gotten so much game from Anton Daniels. He gives so much on his channel just on a regular basis. He's got the Millionaire Morning Show. I know he's live right now, but in the Patreon specifically, especially if you want to learn about investing, see some of his investment strategies, and actually look at how he got to where he is now, some of the things that he uses from budgeting to growth on YouTube to real estate investing. It's all there in the Patreon. And I think it's only like $15 a month. So definitely, I would definitely highly recommend it to anyone who's not only wanting to be around like-minded people, but get advice from somebody who's actually in the trenches doing it every single day. Shout out to the bag chasers. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Go and support my guy, Anton Daniels, over there. And when you go over there, tell him I sent you. That's my guy. Six Lenses says, just wanted to ask, is Anton's Patreon worth it? I'm still on the fence and want your take. Keep killing it, ClassE. Trump 2025. There's nothing y'all can do about it. They tried out there in Pennsylvania, failed. Trump 2025. I'm sorry. Y'all just have to. It is what it is. Sorry if that hurts your feelings. But yeah, go show some love and support to Anton Daniels. And a lot of the stuff we do on this Music Morning Show, I modeled and learned from Anton and what he does on this Millionaire Morning Show. So yeah, he's got some great game and insight into pretty much anything in life. So yeah, shout out to the bag chasers. And if you're a bag chaser, drop the bag emoji in the chat. Dear Walt Christian is in here with the 10 bomb. He says, shameless ass for a ClassE Dear Walt Christian beat collab. Oh, I see what you're saying. ClassE Dear Walt Christian beats collab in 2025. Get the people what they need. Double points if we do a live meetup. Let's do it. Oh, we got a lot of bag chasers in here. And shout out to the bag chasers, man. Shout out to the bag chasers. We are up. It's worth every single penny. Also, Dear Walt Christian did become a new member too. So did Michelle. I appreciate y'all. All right, let me make sure I didn't miss anything else as we get into this document from Jay-Z. Rice Street's coming. Rice Street, you need to worry about yourself. Don't worry about us over here. We're good. You gotta get you. Rice Street said I'm coming. We are not scared of Rice Street anymore. Y'all got the DOJ on you. Yeah. I chase bags and jerseys. Let's go. Shout out to the bag chasers. I see we got some bag chasers in here. Trump 2025. Yeah, we definitely got to make that happen, man. All right, let's go ahead and get into it. So Jay-Z's following a new motion. He is worried, and Jay-Z and Rock Nation specifically are concerned that something is going to happen to the evidence that was brought up during this recent lawsuit, and they want all of it to be preserved. And they also just want this case to be dismissed in general. We've seen so much evidence that's come out that has shown that this case against Jay-Z, when it comes to this girl that was allegedly 13-year-old at the time, is just, there's nothing there. All right.
And so what we have ultimately is that
our guy said it best.
Evidence, none.
So we're going to get into this, kind of see what they're asking for, what they're looking for, and find out what y'all think if this is actually going to happen. Is this case going to get dismissed, or are they going to keep moving forward? Defendant Sean Carter's memorandum, or memo, as we say for short, of law in support of his emergency motion for an order to show cause and an order to for the preservation of evidence and to strike the complaint and dismiss Mr. Carter from this action pursuant to federal RCV P12F. Here we go. We got the table of contents here. They're going to explain everything, give a background, what's going on. And let me make sure y'all can, y'all can see. We're good. All right, here we go. Defendant Sean Carter respectfully submits this memo of law in support of his emergency motion for an order to show cause and an order for the preservation of evidence and to strike the plaintiff's complaint pursuant to federal rule of civil procedure 12F1. Here's their statement. Admissions by the plaintiff and damning admissions by her own father in a December 13th revelatory NBC interview cast yet further doubt on a claim that was obviously false from the start. The timeline, the location, and occurrence of events alleged in plaintiff's complaint are rendered impossible by these admissions. And if you guys missed the press conference that Jay-Z's attorney held, we covered it here on the channel. Go back and watch that video. I'll have it in the description as well. And you can find the full video actually over on Amy's channel. Absolutely excellent press conference. One of the best I've ever seen. You did a great job covering the timeline, location, and occurrence of the events. She claims her father picked her up after the assault. He ever taking that 5-hour trip. What? They've got a typo here. She claimed her father picked her up after the assault. He never taking that 5-hour trip. I don't know what they were trying to say here. Basically, it didn't happen, as Alex said. She claims she spoke with musician Benji Madden that night. He was not even in New York. She claims the assault took place at an after party hosted in a private residence. Photos show Mr. Carter at an after party at a nightclub. Dennis Byron had photos from that party in 2000. When pressed by NBC, plaintiff was forced to admit, I have made some mistakes. I may have made a mistake in identifying. Not all the facts there are as clear. And even that she was guessing about the key details, including the time it took to reach the venue. Oh my gosh. What is more, she admits she does not have a single corroborating witness over the last 24 years. The one witness she had is dead. The other witness she allegedly called to pick her up, her father, said that didn't happen. Plaintiff's unsupported allegations crumble under scrutiny as the evidence and the lack thereof reveals glaring inconsistencies and outright impossibilities in her story. Her account describes a jumbotron at the scene of the Video Music Awards, but according to the NYPD, sources and MTV producers, no such jumbotron existed. MTV applied for a permit to install one, but was denied. She references a house that supposedly fits the description of the location of the alleged assault, but no such house exists. And plaintiff's allegations become even more dubious when considering the nightclub evidence. Photos from the night in question show Mr. Combs, Miss Jennifer Lopez, at both Lotus and Twirl clubs in New York. So we were guessing who could have been there if this went down, and who could have been female B, or celebrity B, as they say in the claim. And we guessed very early on that it could have been Jennifer Lopez. I do find it interesting here that they name Jennifer Lopez. I get that they're naming her just as somebody who was there and who could corroborate his story. But it's still very interesting that they named Jennifer Lopez as the person being there with Diddy. Anyway, we'll keep it moving. At both Lotus and Twirl clubs in New York, NBC reported that photos separately show that Mr. Carter was at Lotus following the VMAs. Taken together, the factual inconsistencies, timeline impossibilities, and the lack of corroborating evidence make the plaintiff's allegations in the FAC wholly unreliable. Not only do these extraordinary inconsistencies undermine the plaintiff's case, they highlight severe misconduct by her counsel, Anthony Buzbee, and the Buzbee law firm. Unable to escape the foundational cracks in the plaintiff's story laid bare by the NBC interview, Buzbee was forced to backpedal, repudiating the very allegations he signed his name to. Not a great look as a lawyer at all. In an attempt to deflect from his own failures, he foist blame on another law firm, claiming the case was vetted before it was sent to his firm. It doesn't matter. You still have to do your due diligence. And so concerned is Buzbee that he is now having his client sit for a polygraph. What? The takeaway is obvious. Buzbee failed to undertake a reasonable inquiry into the facts before filing the complaint, and then amended it to assert a claim against Mr. Carter despite an affirmative duty to do so under Rule 11. But that was just one step in the cavalcade of misconduct. Though he has signed his name to pleadings and other documents filed in this case, Buzbee has declined to seek admission to this court, apparently seeking to circumvent this court's authority to enforce Rule 11. Buzbee's rule breaking also extends beyond this action. He has a long history of abusing the legal process and shirking ethical responsibilities. In a case in California Superior Court, for instance, Buzbee was admonished by the judge for violating pre-trial rulings. He might be our real life Better Call Saul. I'm saying Suits. I'm saying Better Call Saul. Like, this guy, somebody please make a limited series about this. I will watch it again. This is so entertaining. A federal court in Texas rejected a fee arrangement orchestrated by Buzbee and his firm because it violated public policy. Shocker. The fundamental inconsistencies in the plaintiff case revealed in the NBC interview, coupled with Buzbee's chronic inability to follow the rules in this case and others, creates a substantial risk that Buzbee will destroy evidence damaging to the plaintiff's case, including evidence of his own misconduct, impairing the integrity of the judicial process. An order immediately mandating the preservation of all evidence relevant to this case is necessary to ensure that Mr. Carter has a full and fair opportunity to present his defense against the plaintiff's fictitious claims. That Buzbee is not admitted to this court and thus is apparently attempting to avoid its disciplinary authority only underscores the pressing need for such an order. For the same reasons, all of the plaintiff's allegations about Mr. Carter are scandalous, warranting striking them from the FAC under Federal Rules Civil P12F. Factual background. We know a little bit of the factual background, but we'll get into it in a second. This is insane. Buzbee filed his lawsuit on October 20th, 2024 against Combs and associated business on behalf of anonymous Jane Doe plaintiff. We still don't know who she is. The initial complaint alleged that Mr. Combs, along with another unnamed male celebrity, assaulted the plaintiff. Then we know they came out, they amended it, they named Jayz. Celebrity B, the woman who is allegedly in the room, still has not been named. All right, so we know a little bit of that factual background. Let's skip ahead and go forward. Buzbee admitted to NBC that his firm failed to conduct any investigation into the merits of plaintiff's claim prior to filing extraordinary allegations of child assault against Mr. Carter. Buzbee seeks to shirk his Rule 11 obligations and foist blame on another law firm for the glaring inconsistencies exposed by the NBC report, which this is dirty, man. Can y'all imagine? Y'all think the other law firm's ever going to refer a client to Buzbee again? This is nasty work. He's burning so many bridges, and this is just a bad look as an attorney. I don't understand why he's taking this route, but we'll see. Rather than conducting his own due diligence to vet his client's claims, Buzbee nearly relied on the purported vetting of another firm, telling NBC Jane Doe's case was referred to our firm by another who vetted it prior to sending it to us. It doesn't matter. But no one from the other firm signed the pleadings in this case. Great point. Buzbee did. His failure to investigate the claims violate Rule 11, and I'm sure there will be a bar complaint against them if there isn't one already. Further, as explained in the letter that Mr. Carter filed with this court on December 13, 2024, in the more than 8 weeks since he signed the initial complaint in this case, Buzbee has failed to seek admission to the court pro hoc vice. I don't know what that means. In the evident attempt to avoid the power of this court to enforce Rule 11 and others against him. And pro hoc vice is, it's pro hoc vice or pro hoc vis. It translates to for this occasion or for this case. In legal context, it refers to the practice of allowing an attorney who is not licensed to practice law in the specific jurisdiction to participate in a case in that jurisdiction on a temporary basis. So he didn't even seek admission. He just went ahead and was practicing law where he wasn't supposed to be. Nice. Well done, Tony. Buzbee's misconduct and other lawsuits. Buzbee's gross violation of Rule 11 in this case and failure to comply with the court's admission requirements are just the most recent examples in a long line of litigation misconduct. Oh my gosh. For instance, Buzbee and his law firm were recently accused of violating the rules of professional conduct by 3 former clients for his deceitful conduct. They have in Exhibit 1, 2, and 3, or 2. We'll say 2A. What is more, according to the former client of Buzbee, Buzbee's law firm dropped her as a client after she resisted the firm's efforts to pressure her to adopt a false narrative of her experiences as a victim of trafficking by celebrities unrelated to this case. Specifically, the Buzbee law firm pressed her to confirm that she was drugged, held down, pushed, and physically assaulted. All false details. Moreover, she was repeatedly asked for a connection to Mr. Combs, though she made it clear her case was unrelated to him. And already in this case, he violated Rule 3. We talked about the Rule 3 of professional conduct as we were going throughout the YSL trial too, because Miss Love was in some hot water for breaking or violating Rule 3 as well. Professional conduct, prohibiting attorneys from threatening to present criminal charges solely to obtain an advantage in a civil matter. By making such threats to Mr. Carter to extract a settlement prior to bringing frivolous claims against him in the FAC. Buzbee also has a track record for employing suspect tactics to gain an unfair advantage in the course of litigation. Because Buzbee frequently severs clients on a contingency fee arrangement, he has a personal stake in the outcome of his cases and has demonstrated his creativity in stepping over the line to promote his own interests using social media, as he mentions on his website and as was mentioned in a previous motion. In one notable case, a federal court invalidated a referral agreement between Buzbee and a known fact witness in a case as invalid as a matter of public policy, which entitled the witness to 15% of the gross attorney's fees awarded if Buzbee's client was victorious. Lord. In another unscrupulous tactic, in order to get a case heard in a favorable venue, the Buzbee law firm submitted venue pleadings and a client affidavit characterized as at best incorrect and at worst fraudulent. After the defendant's counsel notified Buzbee's firm that his client's misrepresented facts that affected the trial court's venue determination, Buzbee unilaterally non-suited the case and refiled a substantially similar case in another favorable venue. Tony. There's one more example. Finally, Buzbee has demonstrated a lack of respect for and willingness to violate judicial orders. In one case, Buzbee baselessly accused former baseball player Scott Erickson of being to blame for a murder while representing criminal defendant Rebecca Grossman. Oh, we got to look into that. He falsely claimed Erickson was the driver who hit and killed two young boys and was hiding in the bushes after the fatal act, despite no evidence to support that assertion. This man, Tony, come on, what are you doing? Prosecutors accused Buzbee and his team of unethical behavior, stating that they were making a mockery of the justice system. The presiding judge rebuked Buzbee, declaring, "We cannot have the defense violating pretrial rulings and expose the jury to evidence that contradicts those rulings," and reprimanded him for his conduct, stating that if it continued, the court would consider financially sanctioning Buzbee and reporting to the state bar. Again, if there hasn't been a bar complaint against him, I'm sure there will be soon. Legal standard, we're not going to get into all that. And then the argument we'll go over quickly. An immediate preservation order is warranted because there is a substantial risk that key evidence will not be preserved. If there was key evidence, it's gone already. Let's be real. we know the evidence is gone if they wanted evidence to be destroyed. So I'm sorry, guys, you're not going to win this one. Just going to have to let it go. And seeing how Buzbee moves already, I would be surprised if they had any evidence to hand over. Mr. Carter faces a significant risk that Buzbee will destroy relevant evidence. What else do we have? Absent a preservation order, Mr. Carter's rights to conduct full discovery will be irreparably harmed, especially if this is not dismissed. The burden on Buzbee to preserve evidence is negligible. The court should strike the complaint as against Mr. Carter pursuant to Rule 12F. So Jayz's just saying, take my name out of it. Even if you're not going to dismiss this claim, just take my name out of it, please. Makes sense. And then the conclusion, for the reasons stated above, a preservation order is necessary to ensure that plaintiff and her counsel, Buzbee and the Buzbee law firm, preserve all evidence relevant to this case. And given that the NBC interview revealed the meritless nature of the allegations against Mr. Carter, the FAC should be stricken under Rule 12F. As such, Mr. Carter respectfully requests that the court issue the attached proposed order to show cause, ordering Buzbee and his law firm to show cause as to why a preservation order should not issue and why the FAC should not be stricken, and Mr. Carter dismissed from this action, and to set a hearing on this motion for Thursday, December 19th at 9 a.m. or as soon hereafter as the court deems appropriate. And then, of course, we have Alex Spiro. I'm going to say it wrong. This is amazing, man. The fact that we're getting to see this back and forth between the two is absolutely hilarious. And if y'all thought we were done, we're not done, because we have Buzbee suing Rock Nation. He made a statement about that as well. We're going to get into it shortly, but let me know what y'all think about this. Who's going to win this battle? This is an epic battle between two lawyers and a celebrity. It's going to be interesting to watch.